Hi everyone, welcome to a webinar at Berlin School of Business and Innovation. Our topic today is the opportunities of studying in Germany with BSBI. I'm Jackson, the Communications Manager at BSBI and your moderator today. I'm joining the panel with Sabastian Dyer, who's the Marketing Director at BSBI. Sebastian, could you introduce yourself, please?
Hi everyone, Sebastian Dyer here. I'm currently the Marketing Director at BSBI, as Jackson mentioned. 8 years experience working in marketing across a range of industries and backgrounds. I guess this topic is quite close to my heart of studying in Germany and abroad internationally, because I've got work experience of doing internships in Ireland and also working in US and America as well. So it's a really exciting topic, and I'm happy to speak to everyone about this today.
Thank you, Sebastian. And a second panelist is Anmol Kawatra, who is newly elected student president. Hi, Anmol.
Hi Jackson, and hi guys, my name is Anmol Kawatra and I'm from New Delhi, India. At the moment I'm studying MA Strategic Marketing here in Berlin at BSBI, and also working to improve student experience as the Student Council President, and I'm really happy to be part of this webinar.
Thank you, Anmol. On the agenda, we have packed in the topics that we'll be discussing today. We'll take a look at a quick overview of the recent trends of education in Germany. Then we'll move on to tell you why Berlin is an exciting place for you to study. And at the final point, we'll tell you why BSBI is the right place for you to do your degree. Throughout this webinar, we'll do polls, which is a very exciting activity. So we do recommend you to join in. And it's also a great way for us to get feedback from you on the different topics to the questions that we ask you. At the end of this webinar, there's a Q&A session where you can ask us any questions that you still have. So without further ado, let's get started. Sab, with regards to the recent trends in the German education system, could you give us a quick rundown of what's going on?
Yeah, sure. So I guess in terms of the trends in German education and more globally, it's about the expectation around the quality of education that students expect. They're studying internationally, they do their research, they're aware of all of the different institutions, the accreditation rankings. They're really taking a lot of thought that goes into the quality of their education. So I guess there's that focus on the quality. So they're making sure that academics are teaching really strong quality courses, but they're also looking at other things that really add to the student experience that I think Anmol is going to touch upon. So student services and student experience, student satisfaction focuses probably around the peripheral side of education. Students don't just want a really high quality education, but they also want the student services to support them. So studying abroad, moving internationally can be challenging, it can be a bit daunting, it can be a little bit scary. So having those services like visa support, accommodation support, having student council presidents, having Facebook groups, things like that to help a student feel more welcomed is really important to, I guess, trends in education. I think education globally, it's not just about education, but it's also about outcomes now. So somebody who goes to university doesn't just want that, degree. What they want out of it is actually the employability, the skills to then put that education into practice to then benefit their future life. So a lot of people, on this webinar might be choosing to return to education where they've been working in industry for a few years. So they want to know, are they going to develop the experience, the confidence, then go back into the workplace to then maybe get a new job, get a promotion, or to move into a completely new different industry. So that is why I guess career services and Germany as a destination is really exciting for everyone looking to study in this country, because the career opportunities in Berlin and Germany, which we'll go on to talk about, are very, very positive, and that is one of the main reasons why Germany remains one of the most popular places globally to study internationally. Now on the screen you can see that student mobility is continuing to improve and to grow. Students are moving, they're migrating from different countries. You can see, and you will know, that one of the biggest countries that has the best migration is sort of India, but there's other nations like Ghana, Nigeria, there's Pakistan. There's a lot of student migration in and around the EU as well. So people are willing to study from France, from Italy, from Spain. We'll go on to touch on, some of the benefits on that sort of diverse learning environment. But you can see on the screen that BSBI alone, BSBI has only been established for, I think, 3 years now. We've got already over 73 nationalities at BSBI. And I think that is representative also of how diverse Germany is as a country, because there's so many students coming and going from the country. I think that just demonstrates that Germany itself is very welcoming, it's very opening, and it is really happy to have international students add value and add to the city. You can see on the screen that there's almost 500,000 non-German internationals in Berlin alone. So, if you're worried, if you're scared about this whole international experience, don't be. There's loads of other students in the same boat as you. They're all doing the same thing. They're all coming to Berlin to gain that experience, to gain that confidence, to have a global career and to really grow as an individual. So there's lots of people in the same boat as you, which means you can make friends, you can meet new people, and there's lots of learning experience as well.
Thank you, Sab. And with that, we'll start our first poll, and that's about, we want to know from you, is academic mobility via digital learning platforms important to you? So I don't know if you can already see the first poll. You should be able to see it now. So it's a yes or no answer, so it's quite quick. So we want to know, is academic mobility via digital learning platforms important to you? We'll move on to the next slide. We can also quickly give you the outcome of the poll. So we have 90% who say yes and 10% who say no. It's good to get this feedback because we know exactly what you think about these topics. On the next slide, you can see different countries listed here. Now, Germany is one of the top 5 host countries of international degree students worldwide. Sab, tell us a bit about the rise of number of international students in Germany and share some insights about the diversity at BSBI. I know you've mentioned this a bit earlier, but if you could mention this a little bit more in depth. Great.
Yeah, sure. So I won't dwell on this slide too much because we've talked about it a little bit, but you can see lots of different countries from all different places all over the world. So lots of different continents, lots of different blends of people's nationalities. And I guess the benefit here is how it enriches your education. So through that diversity, through that difference of culture, through that knowledge exchange, and those different cultures coming together, it's almost like a melting pot of learning experiences. Our programs, our classes, even with online education, but also in classroom education, a lot of it is about conversation, about discussion, about reflection, working in groups to share ideas. That's how people learn best. They apply what they know, or they learn, what they need to know, and then they talk about it, they discuss it, and then that's really how an education is brought to life. We don't really, at BSBI, just make people read books. We try to apply the theory into real-world environments, real-world examples. So I know Anmol, as a student council president, will probably talk about some of the initiatives that we do at BSBI, but we have some, opportunities around business competitions, which is a perfect example of how we're trying to embrace and make students be more entrepreneurial, be more, open to new experiences. And you can see on the screen now the number of students coming from these different continents sort of just demonstrates that Berlin is very cosmopolitan and it's very welcoming to students. I know if you're in a different continent like India or Pakistan, you might not be aware of, different things happening in and around Germany, and you might have your own, preconceived conceptions. I guess just do your research. Berlin is very welcoming. EU is very welcoming. So just do your research and understand if Germany is a good option for you.
Cool. We'll go on to Anmol. Thank you, Sab. Anmol, what was your motivation to study abroad and choose BSBI?
Actually, my motivation to study abroad came when I was working as a sales manager for a hospitality group. And although I was working with international clients, I realized that all of my experience was mainly domestic, and I want to sort of expand myself professionally and personally. So I decided to go for a master's in a very international city, that was Berlin. And Berlin was right in terms of it ticked many boxes in terms of it was very affordable, in terms of an international city coming from India and studying in Europe. So that was first point that made me choose Berlin. And then my friend was studying, is still studying at BSBI, who is back at uni with me, and he had a very positive response in terms of the college. So I got in touch with the staff, and I had a few doubts, to be honest, in the beginning, that how the expat life is in Berlin, the student life, what will my experience be? But all those answers were satisfactorily answered, and I decided that BSBI was a good option for me.
Anmol, and then when you moved abroad from India to Germany, what student services BSBI offer in terms of immigration services, and how was this helpful for you?
So for me, even from the get-go, when I first registered for the course, I had full assistance in terms of visa guidance, which was the main issue when you're applying to countries abroad, that you have barely any knowledge about how the laws work. So I had full guidance from the staff, which was very helpful. How to find accommodation was another point that was a bit challenging in the beginning, but I had full assistance, so it was a smooth sail for me. And then multiple legal webinars after by Sorain were held, which were really helpful in understanding the visa laws of a new country, and how to sort of navigate my way through the bureaucratic process in Germany. And student service, other than that, they've also been very helpful in fine-tuning job applications for me, helping me redo the CV, cover letters, sort of Germanize it, as they like to call it, and help me navigate through the job market here and guide me through how things work. So it's been a really smooth sail for me, thanks to the student services.
Thank you, Anmol. We'll go on to our next poll. Next poll is about, we want to know if multicultural education is beneficial to you. So the next poll should start now. Taking a yes, no answer. And we would like to know if multicultural education is beneficial to you. And the poll is very clear. We have got 100% yes to that question. The next slide, the academic calendar in Germany. Sam, could you tell us a bit about the academic calendar in Germany, when it starts, or when do the semesters take place, basically?
Yeah. So I guess traditional university usually focuses around the September-October intake. Because we offer both undergraduate and postgraduate degrees, we do have intakes for February, March, and May as well. So if you're a postgraduate student and you're not really confined by finishing your high school or finishing college at a particular month, most college students finish around the summertime of their academic calendar, which means then you can perfectly progress onto an October or September intake at university. If you're a mature student, then we do offer lots of different intakes throughout the year, so that you can choose to study when you want. If you don't want to wait and you want to study sooner rather than later, then we have that flexibility. I guess on screen you can see that one of the benefits about studying in Germany is that some of and a lot of the international education institutions actually deliver their education in English. So the native language of Germany is German. A lot of the people in the city speak German, but a huge population of the city also speak English. It is, again, as I mentioned, very cosmopolitan, it's very modern, and people are bilingual. Germans do have to learn English at a young age, so that if you're moving and studying abroad and coming to Germany, you shouldn't be that worried about not being able to speak German, because a lot of people do speak English and they're very welcoming to people who, don't always speak in German. With that said, BSBI does offer free German lessons, so if you do want to learn another language, then there is that option, there is that benefit for you. It does then also make it somewhat easier when you do find yourself in a position where people might not have really good English level of speaking knowledge. So things like, ordering groceries, ordering taxis, ordering a drink at a bar, it sort of helps bring that international experience to life. If you can say Guten Tag or Wie geht's Jackson, and you can say simple things like that, which is sort of hello Jackson, how are you? it makes it more exciting, and a lot of people like putting themselves outside of their comfort zone, learning a new language, and I think people really enjoy that. Now, obviously, it's a little bit scary, but you'll never grow, you'll never develop, and you'll never, become a better person unless you put yourself out of your comfort zone. I guess the last point that I want to touch upon here, which is, probably the most important thing, is that there's studies and there's research that's been done that demonstrates that if you can speak multiple languages, you're worth more as a potential employee. It gives you lots of opportunities to study and work internationally. So if you want to work for like a FMCG, fast moving consumer goods company, and you want to be almost like a continental account manager working across different countries, having that language knowledge and having that fluency in different languages, or even just being able to speak, will put you in a really strong position when you're applying for jobs, because it does open more opportunities for you. So you are worth more as an employee or even as a graduate if you can speak multiple languages.
Thank you, Sam. A quick note to all our viewers. So if you have any questions during this webinar, do keep sending them to us while the webinar is taking place, and we'll answer them at the end of this webinar, the Q&A session. But you can already start sending us your questions so that we have them here in our little window. We'll start the next poll, and we would like to know, when would you like to start your course? Is the winter semester or the summer semester? So the winter semester poll must be open now. So the winter semester starts in October and the summer semester starts in April. Then we've got the majority of answers. So over 65% of prospective students would like to start in October, and around 35% would like to start in the summer semester. So we'll move on to the next topic of our webinar, that is why study in Berlin. Now, Berlin is an exciting place for students and for anybody who's looking for jobs. Sebastian, could you tell us a bit more about what Berlin has to offer for students who are looking to study abroad?
I guess a lot of students, they want to go to university, similar to me. When I wanted to go to university, I wanted a university experience. So I didn't just want an education. Obviously, that was important to me, but I wanted to be in a city that was exciting. I was young. I dare to say I quite liked partying at the time. Obviously, I put a lot of emphasis and importance on the quality of my education, and I focused on my, final years and things like that. But Berlin, I'm going to say it again, it's very cosmopolitan, but it's also very rich in history. Berlin, has gone through a lot of humongous change over the years. So it has a lot of culture, it has a lot of art. So if you're interested in museums, in art venues, in anything cultural heritage related, then Berlin really has a lot to offer. One of the iconic landmarks of Berlin is the Brandenburg Gate, which is why our logo has the BSBI Brandenburg Gate, because it is very famous. It's what people recognize when they come to Berlin, and I think that resonates. The fact that it's so cosmopolitan, it's so culturally rich, and there's a lot of heritage. I guess coming back to my point about being social, wanting to meet and make new friends, Berlin has lots of restaurants, bars, things like that. So there's a lot to offer. When you finish your education, when you finish your studies in the middle of the day, you can obviously find that work-life balance if you're studying, and you can let your hair down if you want to. Berlin is also quite a green city, so there's lots of parks. It's very travel friendly, so a lot of people do cycle around. They don't necessarily drive. There is very good transport. It runs on time. It's very efficient. So, if you're in a city that has lots of cars, traffic is very built up, then Germany is really welcoming to people who enjoy green open spaces. The slide we're focusing on now is, I guess, alluding to what Anmol was talking about earlier. So Berlin itself is a very affordable city in comparison to lots of other European cities. So rent is very affordable. We'll come on to another point, but earning potential in Germany is very positive as well. groceries, travel, things like that. It's very affordable. And as you can see on the screen now, the average base pay in Germany is over 50,000 euros. So if you're thinking that studying internationally is quite expensive, it's a big investment, I would say see it as exactly that. It's an investment into your future and your earning potential. So whilst the outlay and expense of having that, global experience, paying for an undergraduate or paying for a postgraduate experience is expensive, getting that qualification then gives you a lot of opportunities to earn a huge amount more than maybe you wouldn't have otherwise. There are studies to say that people with degrees earn more and have a propensity to earn more than people without. So it's certainly a good investment. And you can see there's a range of salaries in Germany, but generally the salary in Germany is very positive, and Germany itself has a very high quality of living as well.
I think we have already mentioned a few of the points. There are just a couple more, I think, on the next 2 slides for reasons why Berlin is a good place for students to study.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to add, Sab, or shall I move on to Anmol? I think you have mentioned already most of them. Maybe something to scholarships and career options.
Sure. Okay, so just expanding upon this slide for all of the people listening and watching. I guess Berlin is also a good place for higher education, and BSBI is one example, but we have some partial scholarships. We do have flexible payment plans, and there are other things like referral schemes as well that we have in place for current students. Now, all of this makes that financial burden much easier to overcome. Flexible payment plans obviously means that you don't have to pay everything in one go. You can plan it out so that if you were to get a part-time job, or if you were finding it too expensive, there are opportunities in place for you to do that. I guess study gaps I've touched upon a little bit, in the sense that if you're a mature student returning to university, don't be scared. It's very common. Lots of people do it. They do choose to study internationally. They do choose to, quit their job to get experience, get confidence in different area of industry. Some people, might want to do an MBA because they might want to progress to the next step. They might want to learn or grow as an individual and get that experience in different areas of business. An MBA is an example where lots of senior management people have an MBA because it gives you understanding in different areas of business. So study gaps is not that uncommon, so don't be worried if you're currently working and you're thinking about an MBA. It's very plausible, and when you apply to BSBI, they do take all of this into consideration. When you apply, they look at your CV as well as looking at your educational experience as well. So do you have an undergraduate? Do you have a postgraduate? Was your language of delivery in English or something else? Do they look at what level have you worked at? Is it managerial? Is it executive? How does that fit in with your career aspirations, but also the program that you're studying at, choosing to study? And then again, I already mentioned it, but Berlin has a lot of great career opportunities after you graduate. So you do benefit from that post-study work visa, which is I think around 18 months in Germany at the moment, which means you do have a great potential to get a full-time job, a graduate job that pays really well after you graduate from BSBI.
Thank you, Sam. Following up on that point, Anmol, what are your career goals and ambitions?
Jackson, my career goals short term would be to be working with a creative agency in brand marketing, and also here in Berlin, because as Sab mentioned, that the employability is just wonderful. The salaries are amongst the highest in Europe. So that's short term, and long term would be running my own creative agency.
Really good. What are some of your highlights as an international students in Berlin?
My highlights would be to be part of this melting pot of culture. The city is just brimming with cultures and activities. Festivals and concerts are happening all the time. Of course, not at the moment, but hoping they'll resume to that soon. And just to be part of the city where whatever hobbies or passions or interests you have, you can always find people to share it with. So the city has been very accepting, and to go to museums, clubs, bars, and just to go to a lake for a swim, or at Temple Hoferfell, go longboarding on a sunny day. These have been my favorite fond memories in Berlin.
Good to hear. So as you can hear, lots of opportunities in Berlin. We want to move on to our poll, where we would like to know what criteria is imperative to you when you move abroad to do a degree. So poll is starting now. We want to know what criteria is imperative to you when you move abroad to do your degree. One is affordability. Number 2, we have scholarship programs. Number 3, career options. We've got quite good activity today. I think the poll is still answering. I think we have, so the main criteria for most of our viewers has been career options with 40%, scholarship programs with 36%, and affordability with 25%. So very clear that career options play a vital role. So why choose BSBI? Now, Sab, BSBI offers a lot for students. Why should they choose BSBI to do their degree?
So I guess we're talking about the opportunities of studying in Germany internationally. So Berlin is the capital of Germany. Our campus location is very central, so that's a benefit if you want to study in the city centre, in and amongst everything that's happening. The campus is very modern. As you can see, this is a picture on screen now of our campus. We're trying to reflect Berlin. Berlin is very trendy, it's very modern, it's a very exciting place to be. That is why our campus is very colourful. We're trying to make it a very modern but professional learning environment. We're trying to move away from that high school environment where you sit at a desk, you're spoken at. A lot of our lecture rooms are lecture theatres. You sit around in a circle and you participate in sort of group discussion, but there are breakout areas as well. So we do, understand that a lot of postgraduate and undergraduate education is based upon your own learning, your own research, your own reading. So we try to create a very warm environment so that you feel welcome, so you feel like you want to stay in that learning environment. It isn't just about coming in, having a lecture and leaving straight away. I guess the other thing is that we offer excellent student support. So a lot of our student services are on campus. They aren't, in another building. They aren't somewhere else. So look, if you do have questions, you can pop in, talk to our careers advisor. You can ask the accommodation team. You can also talk to the student council presidents. People are very open. The SBI is, it's not a huge university, so it's very warm, it's very friendly, and people do know each other. It's very welcoming in that sense. Now, the thing you can see on the screen that I've already mentioned is the free German language lesson. So that helps, and Anmol alluded to this, Germanize your CV. Because you're applying to German countries, the standard or the format or the expectation is somewhat consistent. So obviously having that German experience, being able to apply or even just write an email in German is probably very important, because people will start to understand. They will start recognize that you're not completely fresh stepping off a plane into Germany, that you've been in the city, you've learned the language, and you're making the effort. I guess I did mention about the modern campus, but education is more than just learning in a classroom, but it's about applying your knowledge and learning outside of the classroom as well. So we have lots of online resources. I think the pandemic has certainly proven this, that online learning is almost as popular as offline learning. You have flexibility to study, to learn in your own time. You can, if you're a bit of a night owl, or if you're a bit of a morning person, you can do your preparation for your seminars, for your classes, whenever you want. And you do have those resources available at your fingertips. So as long as you've got an internet connection, you can get a great experience in education with BSBI. The other thing I've also talked about already is the post-study German visa. So Anmol's talked about his career aspirations, working in an agency, working in a creative environment. So the post-study work visa does obviously give you that opportunity. One good thing I guess, about BSBI is that we try to bring the education to life. We do have things like our student magazine, which I'm sure Anmol will talk about and expand upon, but we also have a lot of guest lecturers and industry lecturers and experts come into the classroom. We also have something called Cafe Scientifique as well, which is a great, opportunity. But they will learn and they will talk to you about what it's like to be, a marketing director. What does their normal day look like, and that sort of thing. The slide that's popped up now is one real benefit that BSBI offer. So BSBI has a membership with Job Teaser. Job Teaser is a careers platform that, as you can see, has relationships with over 80,000 companies across the whole of Europe. So being able to speak multiple languages, German, English, and you could have a third, your native language. Job Teaser is basically a platform where you can log in. You will have a login with BSBI. You can see all of these jobs come up on a regular basis, and you have, I guess, first dibs or first chance to apply to those jobs, which puts you in a really strong position. Obviously, companies will see you apply first. They'll usually shortlist quite quickly, and they don't want to go through hundreds of CVs. So chances are, if you're one of the first to apply, they'll probably see your CV first as well. So you can see on the screen that Job Teaser works with a whole range of organizations. I mentioned Berlin is popular, well known for a startup organization, but Job Teaser also works with some of those much bigger organizations as well. So IBM, Nestle, PwC. So whether you want to work in an FMCG company where they have really exciting marketing campaigns, digital billboards in places like Tokyo, Times Square in New York, or if you want more of like a consultancy career, you can go and work for PwC. Or if you want to work in technology, data, IT, you can work for people like IBM.
We have the final slide. I think it's about visas, support, accommodation. Saba's already mentioned most of these points. Is there anything else you would like to add, Sab, just in case? I think we already mentioned all these points, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is just a good quick summary to show all of the support that's available. One thing that we didn't touch upon is that maybe when you want to study in Germany, they ask for you to set up a blocked bank account. That can be very foreign to some people. The expectation or knowledge of that is sometimes a little bit confusing. So we do have those teams in place to help iron out those nuances. So studying international in Germany and getting a visa, is somewhat new to most people who want to study internationally. So we hopefully support you from day one. So if you inquire, if you're interested in studying with BSBI, all the way up to, enrollment, but also all the way through to graduation and becoming an alumni of BSBI as well. So this just sort of demonstrates a lot of the support that we have available.
Thank you, Sam. Anmol, you've already mentioned when we addressed the first topic, your reasons for coming study abroad. You've already mentioned some of the reasons why you chose BSBI. And now we have touched on a few more points. Could you elaborate a few more points about, once you have chosen BSBI, what are services, what benefits you have seen in terms of student support?
Definitely, Jackson. So overall, my experience has been very international. Exactly what I wanted from a master's abroad, and I got to study with many different nationalities, and every day is sort of an expansion of who I was yesterday, because I deal with many different cultures on the daily basis, and it sort of makes you international and more employable for any place in the world. So I'm really happy for that. And when it comes to student services, it was my first interaction with BSBI, and they supported me through the paperwork in the beginning after landing in Germany, as it can be a little tricky when you first move, but a good thing is that the staff is there and they're very capable and they are ready to help. So that makes it quite easy for the new students who land. And another thing that I would like to touch upon is that the lecturers here are either research experts or industry professionals. So they are actually doing what they're teaching. So the discussions with them have been really fruitful. And the rapport I share with them is more friendly than of a student to a teacher. So we have real conversations about how employment works in Germany, and how the real business world is going, what skills are relevant, etc. So again, that's one of the major checkpoints that BSBI satisfied for me, and yeah, that's about it.
Sounds good. Thank you, Anmol. We'll move on to the next poll. It's the final poll of our webinar. Let's see when it starts. Should start any minute. There we go. The poll has started. So literally, you want to know what services are important to you. Is it free German language lessons, online resources, dedicated career service, central location, student support, all of the above. So we've got different options there. Industry network, internship and placement. It's quite interesting to see the results of this poll, because we have got majority of our registrants are going on for internship placement. So 45% have voted for internship placement, 30% for career support, and 22% for free German language lessons. It's quite good to know. And our portfolio. So Sam, BSBI offers a range of courses. Could you give us a quick run through of the different courses we offer and our academic partners?
Yeah, sure. I mean, BSBI works with 3 main accredited university partners: University for the Creative Arts, Università Telematica Internazionale Uni Nettuno, and then Concordia University Chicago. You can see a wide range of programs ranging from undergraduate to postgraduate. If you want a generic broad degree, then you can pick something like the business management undergraduate program. If you want to specialize, say, in something like innovation or entrepreneurship, which would be perfect for any budding entrepreneur or anyone who wants to come to Berlin to set up their own business, then they can do the MA in innovation and entrepreneurship. Or if they're very senior, very qualified, and they already have an undergraduate, they can do something like a DBA, which is a doctorate, or they can do something like an MBA. University for the Creative Arts, as you can see on the screen, is ranked 7th and 13th by the Guardian League table. The Guardian newspaper is very prestigious, it's very well known, and it's very reputable. So these are very, very positive rankings. And then University for the Creative Arts is a gold rated institution under the Teaching Excellence Framework, which demonstrates the quality of teaching that you will get from the academic team who will be teaching you on a daily basis. Both the other 2 accredited partners are accredited institutions. They've been going for hundreds of years, so they are well established, well reputable, and they are recognized. So depending on if you want to stay in Germany and work, or if you want to go back to your own home country, having these degrees, is a very respectable thing to do.
Thank you, Sam. Anmol, you are doing an MA in strategic marketing. How does your course help you towards your career goals? Like, what are some of the highlights of your course? That's basically what we would like to know.
Actually, the highlight of my course, other than studying with people from all over the world, would be the field trips that we had. So speaking with real businesses and understanding by collecting first-hand information and using that for live case studies. So I'm a firm believer of that real education or real learning happens outside the classroom, and BSBI does that very well by arranging these field trips for the students. And to be part of various webinars which focus on developing skills that are relevant in the marketplace today, and yes, learning from industry professionals, that has been like a blessing to me, and really develop professionally at BSBI.
Thank you, Anmol. And then the final question would be touching upon your new position. So you're the newly elected student president for postgraduate students. Tell us a bit more about this and some of the initiatives that you plan together with the Student Council for Students.
So I'm mostly working on initiatives that bridge the gap between the university studies and personal development of students. So we have a lot of webinars going on. We have a lot of clubs that we started. So we have a football club so that people stay in shape and active. We have a culture club where people come and share and bond over some cultural thing that they share with their fellow classmates, and develop a very personal relationship and get to know each other outside of a formal environment. And we recently had another startup competition, which for all the budding entrepreneurs is like a dream come true, because it has a monetary reward to help them actually start up with their idea. And they also get a mentor at the end, which will guide them through the whole process of starting up a new business. So other than that, we have Cafe Scientific, where industry leaders come and talk about relevant topics which might interest students from various courses at BSBI. So all these initiatives are there to set up students for a really bright future after their study completion at BSBI.
Some really good activities there that have been planned, and some things that I found really exciting was the freshers event and also the speed friending event. Could you tell us a bit more about those?
Yeah, it's sure, Jackson. So speed friending event was actually my baby idea. So I realized that people who came in post-corona for their studies sort of felt that they couldn't get to know their fellow classmates as well as they would have if normal classroom training was being there. So I set up this small event where people can talk in small groups and get to know each other based on common topics. So for example, one would be traveling. So people can come together over telling stories about their travels or their plans and get to know each other. Some would be sports, some would be arts. And this is a very, very nice way to connect and find people you connect with. And the other one was the freshers party that is actually coming. So it'll be a welcome, which again will have a speed friending event. So from the get-go, people will get to know their fellow mates from day one, and hopefully they'll improve their quality of life in Berlin because they'll already know people. They'll have a lot of plans to follow through with, and it'll be followed with a fun pub quiz during the freshers party, and that's how the evening will go.
Lots of fun activities. The student magazine, Sabas already mentioned this earlier a little bit. We've got a student magazine at BSBI. Tell us a bit more about this. Like, how can students get involved? What are the different things that students like about it?
Yeah, so the student magazine we have is a great way of internal communication, I believe. So it delivers newsletter, it delivers news about the following events that are coming up. For example, the freshers party or a speed friending event or a talent show that's going to happen next month. So other than that, people can, all the budding writers can write articles about their travels or philosophy or various topics that they're interested in, and it'll be printed. So and their fellow mates will get to read the work that they do. And so I think it's a great initiative, and I'm really excited for the new issue of the magazine.
We're currently working on it. There's also some great student engagement initiatives at BSBI.
Thank you.
Which, yes, sure, really proud of. We're coming to the next slide, which is the Q&A session. And we have got some pretty good questions here. So we'll start off with one of our first questions is, can you quickly say, oh, 1 second, let me see. So we have got some, just have to go through, there are a huge list of questions. Okay, somebody from Nigeria says, I can't speak German language. Will the lecture be taught in the English language? What level of English should I have? So Sab, if you...
So, yeah, the lecturers are taught in English, so you won't be expected to know German to understand how the course is delivered. That's one of the benefits about studying with BSBI, potentially over a traditional German university. A lot of traditional German universities do expect you to know German for the courses to be delivered in German. Our English requirements vary depending on what program you're interested in. So if you are looking at a postgraduate qualification, the English might be slightly higher than our undergraduate programs. We also do offer a foundation course as well. So this extends your undergraduate degree from 3 years to 4 years. This then means that you can develop English We do offer different ways to demonstrate your level of English. So we can accept things like English waiver letters. So if you have gone to an international school or an international baccalaureate and you've been taught in English, then you might be feasible to meet the entry requirements to study in English with BSBI. What I would do is I'd advise looking at our website, looking at the entry requirements for our different programs, and then speaking to one of our advisors who can, I guess, more closely advise which programs might be really suitable for you as a candidate.
Our next question is from somebody who has already graduated in 2011, is currently working for a facilities management company and would like to do an MA in a management course to enrich their skill set. The question that they have is, because they finished their degree 10 years ago and they're now 36 years old, are they still eligible to apply? The second question is, what are the prerequisites for the admission?
Okay, so there's no age limit. There's no upper boundary to being too old to study with BSBI. You know, I commemorate you, congratulate you for thinking about this as an international opportunity, opportunity for you to gain more experience and confidence. Again, the prerequisites come down to the specific course that you might be interested in. Generally, it's more or less if you've got an undergraduate degree or if you've got experience working in the industry, which would then make your degree that you want to study applicable. They would look at your high school experience, your high school qualifications, your level of English, that sort of thing. Again, I would just look at the type of course that you want to study. We looked across a whole range of programs that I presented a minute ago, talked about MS in finance and investment, international health management, tourism and hospitality management. Some of those courses might expect you to have some knowledge in certain areas, i.e. international health management at MSc at postgraduate level. They might say, what do you currently do as a job, or what are your motivations for wanting to work or study in this sort of service and industry? I think if you can put a strong letter of motivation together, which is usually a prerequisite for applying to study at university, will put you in a strong position. So if you are 36 and you want to try and inspire yourself, you want to try and find that motivation to study, to work internationally, then just make sure that your letter of motivation is really positive and in-depth and detailed so that our admissions team can take that into account.
We're slowly running out of time, so we'll quickly do 2 or 3 more questions. These 2 questions are related to visa. So the first question is, does BSBI, let me go back to the visa question. Yes, so this is the first visa question. If I can't get a visa on time, can I study online until I get my visa to travel to Germany? That was the first question.
I think we have to double check, but yes, I think that is very, very feasible. We appreciate that some authorities, like the German authorities, COVID has put a lot of pressure on trying to grant visas. A lot of students are now looking to study internationally again because the situation is improving, because the COVID situation is improving. So there's more people applying to study international because they're not waiting any longer. You can usually start online. You can start enrollment, and we do online teaching. That's not a problem at all. So yes, I mean, look, if you want to study with BSBI, if you want to study internationally, you can start online and then obviously enroll in classroom when you can.
I think that also answers the next question. What is the process if I've paid for tuition fees and I can't get a visa and the course has already started? So Sab has already answered that question. And then the final question we'll do is, does BSBI have partner companies where students can do internship or directly apply or get a referral? So it's based for internships, and if BSBI has got partner companies where students can do internships.
BSBI doesn't have partner companies, so it's something that we cannot guarantee. Obviously, we have these guest lecturers, we have these industry lecturers come into the classroom. So you do have an opportunity to build that network, to build that experience, to make those connections. We cannot guarantee any placements. I guess one thing that, if that's really important to you, universities do offer like a year in industry, but that is quite rare. It's quite difficult to find, and then they will help you. I guess the benefit with BSBI is that we do have that career service in place, so that when you're having your education, when you're having that, support. Anmol mentioned they help you with your CV, they help you prepare for interviews, they help you to prepare for lots of different things. And having that industry experience, those academic lecturers come into the classroom, it helps give you context when you're applying for jobs, because you know what the job's going to be like, you know what to expect at interview stage, you know what sort of questions are going to come up, and hopefully then you're more likely to have successful interviews and to get offers of jobs.
Thank you, sir. And time is almost up. Sebastian, Anmol, thank you for sharing expertise and insights with us. It's been a pleasure to have you here. And to our viewers, thank you for joining us today. Please like, comment, and subscribe to our channels, and we'll continue to bring you amazing content about BSBI. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you, Jackson.
Take care.
Take care.